welcome to the Capital Bridge Show. Of course, if you're listening to this or seeing it for the very first time, this is a show that is going to be bridging you to the opportunities, the countless opportunities in the capital market, of course, of Rwanda. My name is William Evans, and today I'm seated down with the CEO of Capital Market, Mr. Tapelo. Tapelo, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm seated with Mr. Tapelo. Thank you for sparing time to speak to us.
Thank you for having me.
I'll just go in. My first question to you is to understand the capital market's mandate. What is Rwanda's capital market authority mandate?
The mandate of the capital markets authority in Rwanda, in basic terms, is firstly, we need to be assisting government or the financial sector to formulate policies and legal frameworks and rules that enables the capital markets to grow in Rwanda. And also the other thing that we do is we issue licenses to entities that want to establish here and do business here. And these entities are your brokers, the stock exchange, your investment banks, and various funds that want to come to Rwanda or just want to start business in Rwanda. So what we do is that we issue licenses to them. We regulate them by supervising them. And also the other thing that we do, which is also very critical, is we develop we are in charge of development of the capital markets in Rwanda. It's just the general work of making sure that Rwanda as a country, its capital markets is actually well functioning and is actually developing.
Well, I'll just speak on one of the mandates, which is policy frameworks. Yes. And of course, people that know capital markets know that capital markets and the operations and the trust and the clientele, everything is around the frameworks. How are you aligning global-based practices, but also as you align global-based practices, but addressing Rwanda's specific needs when you're coming up with the frameworks and the regulatory,
First, we are a member of the ISCO. ISCO is an international body that regulates the standards of capital markets. We're an associate member. And us being associate member means that we need to conform to certain international standards and principles that we look at. And when we design the laws and the regulations and the guidelines for regulating our market in Rwanda, we look at the international standards as a benchmark, but we are also a member of the East Africa community. We also look at the standards in East Africa, and we also make them relevant to the standard of the level of development of the market, so that we are not extremely too detrimental to the growth of the capital markets, but we are able to enable growth of the market. We issue rules and regulations that doesn't stifle the growth.
Sounds like a very complicated process. One would wonder, for example, how many bodies have so far been approved? How many have you given the license or the approval to go ahead and operate in the Rwandan market? But also, if you can speak to a bit of the process, what is the vetting process like? Yeah. What do people go through to actually get certified or approved to operate?
Yeah, we have one licensed and approved stock exchange that is operating. That we supervise and regulate, which is the Rwanda Stock Exchange. We have one commodity exchange that is operating in Rwanda, and we have a number of brokers, I think around 6 or 5 brokers operating in Rwanda. We have a few investment managers who manage assets on behalf of clients, more than 5. And we also have a number of unit trust managers. Unit trust managers are the people who collect the money from the members of the public in order to manage or to grow their money in simpler terms. So what we look at is that, first, when you want to establish an entity, you need to submit your your documents in terms of the ones that establish you as an entity. You need to establish the people behind the business, their qualifications, and we need to look at the track record and the qualifications of those people to see if they are fit and proper to run such a business in Rwanda. And then the other thing is that over and above that, for things like in funds, what we do is that when you want to raise money from the public or from any other person and you are based here, we are the only entity that actually authorize you. So we look at what we call a prospectus. A prospectus is actually a piece of information that explains how you are going to be getting money from the public, how you intend to invest that money or use that money, who is going to be in charge of managing that money, what is the qualification of such person, what is the governance, how are you going to manage yourself, govern yourself behind such entities. So we look at all these things, and when we identify any gaps in the document, we point out to the people who are offering applications in order to fill up the gaps before we can do the approval. It's only that after you have fulfilled certain set of predetermined principles that we actually admit you to practice in Rwanda. And remember, based on the main mandate that we are the ones who make frameworks. So the framework is already there. What you do is that you need to conform to the framework, and we are checking your applications against the framework.
Someone comes and they go through that entire process and everything is tick, 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 and then they are approved to operate on the market. And maybe in the process, one would want to know what measures, what mechanisms are in there to protect now the investors. You've looked at the people that want to operate. Everything is tick. Then how then do you protect the investors, the people that are now investing, are trusting these people that you've approved?
As a matter of law, we are also charged with supervision. We offer continuous supervision in the capital markets. So that is where our things like on-site visit comes in. We go to these entities almost once a year. There is continuous reporting by these entities. Now and then we request them to submit their documents in terms of the financial statement, the board of governors, who regulates them, who is in their board, and what is actually happening in the company. This is how we protect the investors. Also, the other side of investor protection is that we also teach the investors on the expectation they should make in terms of where they put their money in. Investors are given, there's a continuous education in terms of a lot of things that we are doing, including the youth forum, which is going to be coming up, so that we teach them while they're still young. There's some country tour that we're going to be also taking place. So the continuous empowering of investors also helps a lot, because we will now deal with informed investors who can also alert us if they think something is wrong with the companies or the entities that we have licensed.
You touched on something that is very important of involving several groups. I mean, the capital market is just beyond the key players and investors. A young person, young people, of course I'm talking below 35, which is almost 75% of the population, is probably watching this for the very first time, and they're wondering how do we participate in this opportunity? What opportunities are there for people like us, for school-going young people, but also young people generally, or even other people that may not identify, there are lots of mysteries around capital market. It's for the rich people, it's for this certain. How do these people find themselves meaningfully participating, or what opportunities are there for them?
Yeah, I mean the investing is sometimes a long-term game. You need to learn it, and that's why we also offer to teach people for free in terms of all the integrities of investing. The opportunities that are there is that people can put their money on the stock market. And on the stock market, you can invest in shares, equities, or you can invest in bonds, or even government bonds. The other opportunities are you can also give your money to what you call a unit trust, small amount of money, bit by bit, and then unit trust managers, RNet or RSC, through their brokers, they can be able to invest your money and grow your wealth. The thing with investing is that, you build wealth. You slowly put some little money in, and ultimately that money will be able to grow. But of course, there are risks involved. You can lose money because this is investing. The companies might fail, the companies might not offer dividends. But the good thing is that when you invest in the market, you are actually having a share in the growth of the economy. When the economy grows, when the companies do well, we are also able to benefit from the dividends that are paid through them.
Maybe lastly, we understand that the authority is guided by, I think, 5 pillars. But also, for people that do not know, of course, you can help us know the 5 pillars. But reflecting on the 5 pillars, what do you see as the future of the Capital Market Authority? Of course, I understand it's been a journey. So far, some progress has been made. So, banking on the 5 pillars, what's the future like?
Yeah, I mean, the 5 things that we have put up as CMA Rwanda to develop the capital markets. Number 1 is the continuous development of our legal and regulatory framework. We need to pitch it to good, acceptable international standards, because we don't only deal with people in Rwanda, we also deal with attracting money from outside the country for people to invest in Rwanda so that the Rwandan economy can grow. That is the first thing. The second thing is that we need to make sure that we develop the products that are offered, the investment products that are offered in the economy. And by developing the products that are offered, number 1, you offer the companies to be able to raise capital through those products. And number 2, you offer investment opportunities for people who might want to invest in those products. So, to diversify products in the market is also a core pillar. The third thing that we want to do is that we also want to increase our investor base. We want to get as many people in Rwanda as possible to invest in the capital markets in Rwanda, and even Rwandans in diaspora to also invest in the economy of their own country. But most importantly, because it's a market is composed of different market players, we also want to get some international investors in Rwanda, because for the economy to grow, it needs capital. And part of the capital, which is nice to grow companies, is foreign capital. We want to get that right, and it's one of the things that we want to do quite well. The other thing that we want to do is we also want to improve the IT infrastructure. We need a robust IT infrastructure which will act as a conduit, as a way for people to invest. For people to invest, it needs to be easy. And for companies to raise capital, it also needs to be easy. So if we are IT-based, you are able to have or to create platforms or ways in which people can come into the market or also exit if they want to sell their investment. It needs to be easier. And IT enables that. The other thing, lastly, is we want to be a very innovative market. Allow those sandboxes to come in to test their product, allow a lot of innovation to come up into our market. So we are looking forward to be a very innovative market. That is why we have a regulated sandbox in CMA, which is doing quite well. I think there are a number of companies, more than 2 or 3 companies that are already in the sandbox, and will allow them to grow over a period of time. So those are the 5 top things among many that we intend to do in the medium to short term.
As we come to the end of this show, there are people that are watching this for the very first time. As the CEO of Capital Authority Market, of course, I want you to look straight in the camera and give them that message, whatever message you have for them as we come to the end.
So I think my message to everyone is that, if you have companies that want to grow and are looking for capital to grow, you must utilize the capital markets. And number 2, if you are an investor that want to put aside that extra cash for you to save or for you to grow, come to the capital markets and look at the instruments and opportunities that are offered by the capital markets. So it's a 2-sided story. Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And of course, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. But before, of course, we call it end, you've noted that the capital market, there are lots of opportunities for you. There are lots of opportunities for you. The market is free. I'm sure you've learned a lot of things. Of course, I'm your host, William Evans Mtabazi. See you next time. Thank you.